Hey guys, did you know that I have a Patreon where you can support me and plus get awesome rewards? Or if you're thinking to yourself, but Julian, I want even more bang for my buck while still supporting you, you can pop over to my Redbubble and check out my awesome store with new designs appearing regularly. But for now, enjoy the video you're about to watch. So guys, I somewhat recently did what I'm calling a read-along of Jenna Moressi's The Savior's Champion, which I thought was maybe going to be a one-time thing, but then Jane is here. Then I got like a really good response, and not gonna lie, I am a ham. I live for like performing and making people happy, so I was like, just like low-key keeping my eye open for like what could I do a read-along of next? And I just was in a bookstore and I was looking and this book popped out at me. It's called The Cellar. The Cellar, C-E-L-L-A-R, as in the basement. And, you know, it wouldn't have meant anything to me except it said the author is Natasha Preston, aka Wattpad sensation, Natasha Preston. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. So I went on Goodreads and I was pleased to see that this book is either a love it or hate it kind of situation, which means that there's probably going to be some really good stuff for me to plumb in this. I did not buy it. This is from the library, so I have a time limit to read this for you guys. So that's going to be great. But if you are not familiar with my read-alongs, if you have not joined me before, what we do is I read this book and then I just stop and share with you thoughts that I'm having along the way, similar to like reading a book in the style of Mystery Science Theater, except for I usually try to be a little bit more substantive with my comments. Sometimes I'm just goofy, but a lot of the time I also try to share things that the author of the book I'm reading did poorly that we as writers can learn from. Also, these videos are super informal, as you can see by the fact that I'm not wearing makeup. I am going with whatever ambient lighting happens to be in my living room at the time. I'm using my new camera. Hopefully the audio is okay. I don't know when these videos are going to go up. I'm filming the beginning of November, but I'm going to record at least a few chapters and see how it goes. I have heard that there is some content warning in this book for all kinds of things, like assault, sexual assault, all of that. So if you are sensitive to that, I'm going to go ahead and say right now, like, please proceed with caution. This is your official warning, okay? So this is Julian from the future, just letting you know that although this content warning is still in effect, it's not nearly as bad as I was made to believe by the people who were reviewing this book, and I will put special warnings on the videos where the assault does get talked about, but otherwise it's not that intense, it's never shown on the page, so mostly it's just regular old-fashioned violence. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about before I started reading The Cellar by Wattpad sensation Natasha Preston. I'm covered in cats. I'm wearing my jammies like they have sheep on them. So let's just read this bad boy. I flipped through it like briefly just kind of see what I was in store for, and I noticed the praise for it in the first couple of pages. And I think this book is self-published, even though I did find it in a bookstore. Julian from the future here again, because why have a future alter ego if you can't do a little research with it? So this book was originally published on Wattpad, as we said. But as to it being self-published, it is not. Most of the copies that you will find seem to have been published by Sourcebooks Fire, which does seem to be a real publishing agency. I'm looking at their website right now, and their blurb says, Sourcebooks Fire publishes breakout young adult fiction and nonfiction. We are passionate about producing books with authentic teen voices that create and validate the teen experience in all of its diversity. Bridging both the commercial and the literary, Fire publishes across genres and is known for books that teens want to recommend to their friends. She's got a lot of praise, like 2 pages of praise, but it's all like super random things, like a couple of blogs, and then just people who gave it 5-star reviews. So like Brianna and Nicole and Molly. They didn't even get last names, they just gave it good reviews, and so they were put into the front of this book as in the praise section. So that's what we're dealing with. So this first part is labeled as Saturday, July 24th, present. So I'm guessing that this book is going to be in multiple, like, timelines. That's going to be great. Right away in the first paragraph, beginning books is hard, guys. It's really hard. It's legitimately difficult to know how to begin a book. This one does it a bit gracelessly, not imperfect, not, like, terribly, but gracelessly, in that it's just very expository. So, like, the character is talking about that it's cloudy, blah blah blah. Tonight I was going to celebrate the end of the school year at a gig by the school band, but I was determined to have some fun. So it's just like, this is where I am, this is what I am doing. When you should probably try to let that flow more naturally and show instead of tell, but books are hard to start. And of course the character does not like the way that she looks, because why on earth would any female in any book for young adults ever like the way that she looks? I wasn't model pretty or Playboy sexy, and I didn't have bucket loads of confidence. Basically, I was screwed. Girl, I'm sure you're super hot in reality, because that's the trope. This writer likes hyphens. If you remember that Jenna liked italics, this author is real into hyphens. We've got several hyphens on the same page here. They might be correctly used. I don't think these ones down here are needed. People don't talk like this. Can you take your overprotective boyfriend hat off and kiss me? Has anyone ever spoken like that to their boyfriend in real life? You know, commas would work where most of these hyphens are. She's really into just kind of telling you what her relationship is to people in her life. Like her boyfriend, she's like, oh, I love him, and we've dated for blah blah years, and her brother is, and he was the best big brother I could ask for, but he drove me crazy. I had no doubt we would bicker until we died. You don't need that. You can just show us the relationship that they have. There's a lot of foreshadowing going on that she's going to get kidnapped, because her boyfriend is like, don't walk to this thing, and her parents are like, be careful. Girl should have listened. Holy shit. Alright, I'm officially getting sick of the hyphens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 on one page alone. That's too many hyphens. We've had our first fake out, where she was walking along next to a graveyard, which she exposited creeps her out. Without showing us it creeping her out, we're just told that graveyards creep her out, and they always have. And then this dark shadow came out, and then, oh, it just turned out to be some guy. I love the way she describes this guy. His skinny frame was covered in wrinkled, saggy skin. Like, the way that makes me picture it makes me feel like he's like wearing saggy skin as clothing. There's got to be a better way to describe that he was old. There must be. And then he asks if she's going to the disco, because he's old, and old people don't know what, like, clubs are called, so they call them discos. He doesn't know about clubs, but he does know about roofies, which makes me nervous about this guy, because he's like, don't get roofied! Okay, old guy. He also gives her many warnings. We are just foreshadowing so hard that she's gonna get fucking kidnapped. The writing in this is so far just very clunky. Like, mechanically it does the job, but it definitely reads like online fiction. It definitely reads like something that came from Wattpad that is a bit graceless. Like, her friend, she meets her friend at the club, and her friend surprises her, you know, just kind of like appears next to her, apparently. Friends are always doing that. My heart slowed to its normal pace as my brain processed my friend's face and not the face of the Scream Dude or Freddy Krueger. That's quality. That's a quality sentence.
Sarcasm? You think?
Uh-oh, and their other friend is like immediately in danger. The first friend's like, hey, have you seen Rachel? And our character's like, no, fam. And she's like, damn it, she ran off after another argument with the idiot and her phone's turned off. Well, okay, we're just getting right down to it. Somebody's just already gone. Also, I think this is supposed to be taking place in England. Summer rolls her eyes a lot. Summer is our main character, by the way, and she rolls her eyes a lot. When she's not using hyphens, she's rolling her eyes. I don't have a good idea of what this town is like. Like, I know there's a graveyard right next to a super old guy's house, and now the club is right next to a playing field. And I'm just having a hard time picturing this town. Maybe that's not a random collection of things if you live in England. I don't know. Okay, so the bad guys come for her, and this exchange is just clunky. I'm gonna read it to you because it's just clunky. He asks if she's Lily. No, sorry. Gulping, I took another step back and scanned the area in the vain hope that one of my friends would be nearby. I'm not Lily, I mumbled, straightening my back and looking up at him in an attempt to appear confident. He towered over me, glaring down with creepily dark eyes. Doesn't that... It just reads like a creepypasta or something. It doesn't read like a published book. She's just gonna hang out with this creeper though, like he spooks her and she's like, gee, I hope he's looking for his daughter and he's not some weirdo. Allow me to just stand here in this playing field. This is gold. Before I could blink, he threw his arms forward and grabbed me. I tried to shout, but he clasped his hand over my mouth, muffling my screams. What the heck was he doing? Yeah, what the heck, girl? So this guy's just straight up, like, grade A fiction crazy. Like, he keeps calling her Lily, and he completely overpowers her. She, like, can't fight him at all because he's just so strong. And, you know, she could try to step on his instep real hard, but she's not gonna. By the way, if I shame Summer for being terrible and, like, not trying to help herself, I'm not shaming anybody else who may have been in a kidnapping situation. Summer is a poorly written fictional character, so I will shame her if I feel like it. So our kidnapper's a bit of a germaphobe because he throws her in the van and she hurts her head while she gets thrown into the van. And he makes her clean it up with some hand sanitizer, ouch. And then he takes the tissue that she used and he puts it in a baggie. So he's not into blood, at least. I don't know if that's important for later. Like, is this info that we need for later that she's going to use to escape? I don't know. We'll find out, guys. It's sort of unclear how long they drive, but when they get out of the van, they're in the middle of nowhere, except for there's like a single house that he's taking her into. So presumably a long time, but since we don't know how big the town that she came from actually is, maybe he just drove like a mile. It might have just, like, she mentioned a sheep field earlier, so maybe it's a really small town and all it has is a graveyard, an old man, a club, and a playing field where girls get kidnapped from. So at first she says that, like, she's too stressed to memorize what the house looks like. Like, she can't, like, she's like, oh, I wanted to memorize, like, the colors of the walls and everything, but I can't because I'm too stressed. And then, like, a paragraph later, she says that the walls are mint green. So it's like, which is it? Alright, so we've reached the end of that chapter. She gets to the place where she's going to be kept, which is the titular cellar. Roll credits. And she thinks it's going to be like this horrible torture chamber, but it turns out it's like this little living area with a kitchen and a sofa and vases, 4 vases with flowers in them, except for one of them is empty because, you know, she's Lily, so we're just going to fill that. And there's 3 other women down there, and they're like, welcome, Lily. So I think there's going to be a bit of a flower motif going on here, but that was chapter 1. So far, I think we're going to have a pretty good time with this book. I'm nitpicking the hell out of it, as per usual. It's really hard for me to describe to you, though, like, the quality of the writing. I've read a little bit of it to you, but it's that quality of writing that you see online more. It's that unprofessionally edited quality. Like, there's not typos or anything, at least not yet, really, but it has that clunky, sort of awkward quality of the Wattpad or fanfiction writer. And I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. Let me know in the comments if I'm making any sense. Otherwise, I will see you again shortly for chapter 2. Yes. At least, I mean, the good thing about online stories is they get right the fuck down to business. So we didn't have to wait. We just got kidnapped. Hey everyone, we're here for chapter 2 of The Cellar. So, I posted about this on my author page on Facebook, and it turned out that a couple of my friends are either planning to read or have read this book, and those that have read it liked it. So I feel a little bit bad now. Not bad enough to stop. If this is your favorite book and I'm picking on it, it's okay. Like, you're allowed to like this book. It's fine. It doesn't mean you have terrible taste or you're a bad person. It just means you like this book. And I don't even know if I'm going to like or dislike this book because I am only on chapter 1. Also, I wanted to mention that I gave it a lot of sass for being a Wattpad sensation, but a lot of people might be offended by that because you have to qualify everything. This is the internet. Wattpad is a perfectly fine site. It's a place where lots of people post lots of different writing, including me, so there's quality stuff on Wattpad, because I'm there. It has a bit of a reputation, and there is a certain quality that some writing for the internet by more amateur authors does have, and I will say that so far this book does match that sort of stereotypical writing style. But a lot of people like to read that, so there is nothing wrong with it. We're just going to keep looking at it, and I'm going to keep picking it apart, because that's what I do, and Kinshu's going to keep putting her tail directly in my face. Jane is also here. He's off to the side, like a gentleman. Kinshu, however, will be obnoxious. So let's just... Alright, now that I've gotten every possible disclaimer out of the way, let's get on with chapter 2, which is also in the present, still Saturday, July 24th. Was that the day that we started? Yes, still the same day. So it was kind of unclear to me how late it was, and maybe it was mentioned and I just missed it. I knew she was going out to the club, and obviously it was evening, but I thought that it was still maybe sunset, there was still some light going on, but apparently she legitimately wandered off into the dark. So, in all of the descriptions, I never got the idea that it was super dark, but maybe I just missed something. By the way, this author also really likes italics, so it's a trend. Maybe I don't like italics enough. Maybe I need to get on this italics train. So, our heroine is introduced to the other 3 women who are in this cellar, and they're like, we can't escape, none of us can escape. And one of them has been there for 3 years. 3 years in this cellar. How have none of them escaped? I feel like we don't know that much about the security in this cellar, so maybe our heroine is going to try to escape, and we'll find out how these people have not managed to escape yet, have not managed to come up with a plan to overpower their captor. I can't help but think of, I read a while ago a book called Room, which is about a woman who is held captive for a very long time. That book did a really good job of making it clear to me how she had not managed to escape, her escape attempts, what had happened. And I'm gonna be sort of unconsciously mentally comparing this to that, unfortunately. It's just sort of a side effect of having read a good woman trapped somewhere where she can't escape book. So we'll see how trapped these women really are, in my opinion. And of course, remember, these are all fictional characters, and if I mock fictional characters for being stupid, it's okay. They are made up. Although the book did have a disclaimer at the beginning that was, the characters and events portrayed in this book are fictitious or used fictitiously. Any similarity to real persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. So, in case you are mistaking this for something that really happened. They're also telling her, the other women are also saying that she has to be Lily now. Her name can't be Summer anymore. I don't understand this. So she's really upset, and they are talking about somebody called Clover, who is presumably the girl before her. I shook my head trying to make sense of what was going on. Who's Clover? Him? The sick lily bastard man? The sick lily bastard man. Insult of the year. Nailed it. Oh, he's Clover. So she was right. The sick lily bastard man is Clover. So she's feeling very sad, and she says, I want my nagging parents, annoying brother, and my old boring life back. Was her life boring? It never felt like most authors would have made a bit more effort, I feel, to make it clear through the characters, like, before story that her life was boring. But it didn't seem boring. It seemed like she was just having, I mean, normal maybe, but not boring. She didn't seem bored by it. She was gonna go check out a band. It was a good time. She's gonna hang out with her friends. She wasn't bored. So, I don't know, she just wants her boring life back. Word choice, I guess, maybe she should have said normal life back or something like that. Again, that's just a nitpick. That's just a little detail, but it's stuff that I notice because I am a noticer. She says that her boyfriend looking for her is the only thing stopping her from breaking down, but she is completely breaking down. She has been crying since she was put in the van until now. She has not stopped crying. So the previous Lily was killed when she tried to kill their captor. No mention is made of why she tried it alone, but, you know. Oh, her thought process. This girl's thought process. I kind of just wanted to pat her on the head and be like, yes, sweetheart. Yes. She's like, what does this guy want? And they're like, we think he just wants a perfect family. We're all perfect like flowers. And our main character goes, I blinked, reeling from this latest bomb. Flowers? Was that the reason he named everyone after flowers? Yes, honey. Yes, honey. Oh, honey. She's a little slow. She's precious. So, okay, so the guy hates mess. We were right, he is a germaphobe. Why not vomit on him? That would be, like, my plan one. Would be, like, cover myself in poop, vomit on him, bleed on him, do something that will just throw him off balance by disgusting him, and then escape. That's the very first thing that popped into my head. Now, I know if you're in a stressful situation, maybe it'll take you longer, but let's see if any of these characters think of that. Oh, that's bad for your skin. He makes them shower twice a day. Their skin and hair is going to be so dry. Okay, he will try to rape them. I wasn't sure if they were going to go there, but he does do that. Main character is still crying, has not stopped crying. Okay, so I think she's pulling herself together. She may have stopped crying now. Also, I have no idea what these three other girls look like. I think we were given hair colors, but that's the only description we've got so far. And I really kind of do wish that I knew what they look like. We get a real in-depth description of the kidnapper, though. And he's looking, like, sexy, I guess. I don't know. Not necessarily sexy, but he's looking attractive and well-coiffed. How many times is she going to ask what the heck is wrong with this guy in her head? I think she's done it at least 3 times so far. Also, her heart rate is fucking erratic. Like, it was already going really fast, and then her pulse just quickened again, so, like, her heart is gonna be going I understand as an author you want to show, not tell, how your character is feeling, and you can do that in ways like describing what their heart rate is doing. But if you do it too much, you kind of almost create a humorous situation where I think we're being given a hint here. I don't know about what yet. He calls the girl a selfish bastard, and he slaps her. And our main character thinks, bastard, he said the word, but it was so weird coming out of his mouth. It was like someone else's word. It didn't fit. I don't know, I think, is that going to be like a sign that he has daddy issues? That's my theory right now, is that he has daddy issues, and like his dad used to slap him around, and that's why he's sympathetic. We'll find out if he's actually sympathetic, but in a story like this, I will be very, very surprised if he's not portrayed to be sympathetic at some point. Again, honey, so slow on the uptake. Just the realizations come to her so slowly. It's adorable. He says, we are family, you need to remember that. And she's like, he wanted me to be part of his family. He was going to keep me here. Yup. Yup. We learned that. Previous to now. Well, Violet here has just had a change of tone. She spat at the guy, and she's like, we're not your family, you psycho. It is a good idea. Like, this is something I might, if the book goes where I think it's going to go, it's a good idea to show your threat being a threat. And I think this author is doing that. She's putting it out there right away by having this girl defy Clover right away in chapter 2. She is showing us how much of a threat this Clover guy can be, which is a good idea. You definitely want to do that with your threat. He just flailed his arms, and I cannot help but think of Eve the Awakening. If you want to know what's up with that, go check out my Eve the Awakening review. I can't see the word flailed anymore without thinking of that, so Jenna has ruined flailed for me. Clover has pulled out a knife, and the other girls, including our main character, are just standing, watching, because they're too frozen with fear to intervene. And again, because they are fictional characters, I can mock them for it, and say that they should 100% just overpower him right the fuck now and have it over with. Violet has just de-escalated the situation like that, by just being like, oh, I'm so sorry, you're right, you're our savior and we love you, and he just, like, completely went for it. So, I mean, I guess it was really, really easy, so I guess that's good for later, but damn, that was really, really easy. He went from, I'm gonna fucking murder you, to, nope, this is okay, with like 3 sentences. This author, I'm trying to find a good example of it. This author has a tendency to explain what a character is feeling after she shows what a character is feeling. He stood taller with pride. We don't need the with pride. We can understand that from his actions. And this author has done this a few times, more than a few times, when she's describing a way that a character is showing their emotion. Like, she might say, I cried with fear, or I cried with sadness even, where we understand what's happening with the description, so you don't need to then tell us what the character is feeling or probably feeling. Alright, and that is the end of chapter 2. I feel like I had so many nitpicks for that chapter, but hopefully there was some constructive stuff as well. I feel like once I get kind of these things out of the way that I noticed that the author just does, I hopefully won't bring them up a whole bunch more times. Yeah, we'll just keep going and we'll see how we do and what you guys think of this series. Hopefully you like it, because I probably have it all filmed. So if you don't like it, oh well, because you're gonna get it. Be back in a couple of seconds, probably. Welcome back to chapter 3 of The Cellar. Kinju is here and being her usual intrusive self. So real quick before I get started on this chapter, I thought I would do a little bit of research, maybe find out a little bit more about this book. Maybe frame my shot a little bit better, who knows? Anyway, I tried, and there's really not, like, I didn't find anything all that interesting. Like, we already knew that Natasha Preston was a Wattpad sensation, and that this was published on Wattpad beforehand. The reason I was interested is because I was watching a spoiler-free review, just to get a feel for how other people are feeling about it. And the person in the review mentioned that the main character, Summer, is stolen after the kidnapper hits her with his car, which did not happen in this version of the book, which made me wonder how many versions there are, and is that the Wattpad version, or is there an earlier version of this? Like, does anyone know? I have not actually gone to look at the Wattpad version, which I believe you still can read, so maybe I'll do that before the next chapter. I don't know, that seems like a little bit more than I'm willing to do. I don't know where I was going with that. You just want me to read this damn thing. Let's find out what happens to Summer, now called Lily, as she deals with her kidnapper and her new friends in the cellar. Right away, of course, I have a nitpick because that is what I do. The main character says that the door to the cellar was thick, like it had been reinforced with something, but she's not near the door. She's not looking at the door, she's not investigating the door. It's just the author being like, don't ask questions about the door. It's thick, she can't get through it. Don't even worry about it. So I have a question. Rose is stroking Violet's hand to reassure her. Does anyone ever in real life stroke someone else's hand like that? This it's not reassuring. That's like creepy. Okay, this is a weird thing. So she's describing the cellar and the way it looks and saying that it looks very homey. It smells a lot like cleaning products, but it's very homey. She said, if the cleanly smell, odd phrasing, weren't so potent, it would be a gorgeous room. I was completely out of place in the psychopath's house. What? What? You're completely out of place in the psychopath's house? Are you trying to say that you are dingy and shabby and not clean? Like, what does that mean? What does that sentence mean? This is also an odd phrase. Her blue eyes were as calming as the color of the walls. Okay, this girl is odd. Summer is an odd girl. So they're explaining that Clover has killed before, and it was a really dangerous situation that they were just in. But if it was that dangerous, why was why was Violet able to de-escalate it in like a matter of 3 sentences? The scene of him getting the knife was a good idea because it showed that he was violent and it showed that he was dangerous, and you do want to show, don't tell. But having it be over so quickly was a detriment to that scene. I think that's what we can take away from this. Okay, I have to share this with you. So Summer asks, how does he get away with it? Don't people notice that you girls are missing? And the other girls are like, well, he usually takes homeless girls, runaways, people that are already not expected to be found. And so now all I can think is that he stole Summer because she looked like a homeless person. No offense to homeless people. Summer is crying again, because that's what she do. She spends a lot of time asking if people are crazy or saying they must be crazy in her head. Like, that's her number one thought. He must be crazy. She must be crazy. Are they crazy? There was a movie I watched, it was a while ago. I think it was on Netflix at the time, and I don't think it is anymore. But I want to find it again so I can, like, link it to you guys, because again, this makes me think of like other kidnapping stories, and it was the story of a girl who was kidnapped and turned into a slave for this guy who brainwashed her over a long period of time to believe that she like wanted to be his slave. He even took her back to visit her family. That's how much control he had over her. But the movie did a really good job of showing the way that he conditioned her. He conditioned her through torture. He conditioned her through making her live inside of like a coffin-like box under his bed. I don't know if we're going to get any of that in this, or if we're just kind of told that he's conditioned these girls to be subservient. The conditioning showing the brainwashing that someone would need to do to get a previously free person to be subservient to them. These girls are given a really, really nice, good place to live, and they're given clothes, and they're kept very human. So I don't know if this bad guy would have nearly as easy of a job as is implied, brainwashing these girls into thinking that they are like subservient to him and that they need to be afraid of him. So here's a little writing thing. She says, I didn't even care, I didn't even try to listen. You don't need even. It clutters up the sentence, it weakens it. You can say, I didn't care, I didn't try to listen. Is this a real teenage girl? She says that she and her boyfriend, if they go out separately, they don't text each other while the other person is out. And that doesn't seem realistic at all. She means squeezing her eyes shut or squeezing her eyelids together, but she says squeezing my eyes together. Which just makes me think that she's trying to like push her eyeballs like closer together.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
So Clover's back. He's come back right away. He doesn't stay away long. And she describes his appearance as adult preppy. And I don't quite know what that means, but I think I love it, and it simultaneously makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit. Girl, you need to have other thoughts beside this. Again, she's like, he's insane. Yes. At least our character is aware that she's a failure because she notices as he's leaving that he left the fucking door open. And there are 4 of them. They could overpower this man. All he has is a knife. Run away. Or gain his trust for a while, wait until he's not looking, and then one of you run away, and then the others run away while he's chasing that one, and just make a plan. So somehow, Summer fell asleep on the couch. We just skipped. There was a break, and then we cut to Summer being shaken awake, which I thought was going to be like the next day, but no, it's just Clover back with the pizza. So why did she fall asleep? What did that serve? This author also does something which I admit that I do too, so I don't know if I'm being a giant hypocrite to scorn it. They have their character ask a lot of questions in her head. So they're asking her to come sit down, and she thinks, could I just sit and eat with them? Did I even have a choice? Did he even dictate where we sat? And that's a lot of questions all in a row, and I do that too sometimes with my characters. And I don't think it's bad as long as you don't overdo it. I feel like this author might overdo it. Maybe I overdo it, I don't know. The girls are like, hey, we'll show you the bathroom so you can clean up before bed, because, you know, they're supposed to shower twice a day. Their poor skin. And So she shows her to the bathroom, and we don't get any description of the bathroom or where it is or how it's situated in this room. So, I mean, obviously, we don't necessarily need much of a description of a bathroom because we know what one looks like, but it would be nice to learn where it is in the room. Is it part of the room? Like, do you have to bathe in front of everybody, or is it a separate room? Like, help me picture the setting here. She's crying again, crying in the shower. So she opens up the medicine cabinet and she notices that there are no razors for them to shave their legs or anything. There's waxing strips, so apparently this guy does want them clean shaven, but no razors. But then she completely, and she's like, oh, there's no weapons for anybody. But she completely ignores the fact that there's a mirror right there. That's a weapon. Break that, wrap the shards, in a towel so you can wield it, and stab the fuck out of him. Come on, guys, let's get a little inventive here. And then she just goes to bed, and that's the end of the chapter, and the next chapter is going to be in the point of view of her boyfriend. So I do know from watching some reviews and such that this is in multiple points of view, including the kidnapper, which, I mean, I am going to have to read it to see how I feel, but I have a feeling it's going to try to humanize the kidnapper, who is a rapist murderer. I don't know about you, but I'm just not as keen about humanizing rapists. Oh no, poor Whoopi. He had a hard childhood, so we can forgive him for killing and raping people. But I haven't read it yet, so we'll have to wait and find out. Maybe they won't try to do that. Maybe we're not supposed to feel sorry for him or understand him. Because I don't care how shitty your childhood was. You do not get to rape and murder people. That's just the way life is. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this chapter. I think we're really getting into it. I think we're finding more writerly things to say about this book. So I hope that is at least helpful to some of you who are watching, and I will see you again when I see you. Hey everybody, it is shout out time again. Time to shout out to my patrons, Amanda, Ashley, Celia, Kim, Lisa, Ramona, Sabby Panda, and Sarah. And if you want to be great like these amazing people, then become my patron over on Patreon.